Hi, Storm fans. It gives me great pleasure to welcome back to the shelves for another season, Zach Sullivan. Zach, happy to be coming back to Manchester?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I put on my Twitter and Instagram, it's become a second home. I've only been there for 2 seasons. Then obviously the Elite Series in Nottingham, and yeah, I mean I love everything about Manchester, the rink, the fans. Might be surprised that I said the rink, but I do. It's one of my favourite rinks to play in, and yeah, I'm delighted to be coming back.
What is it about the rink that makes it a favourite rink for you? Is it the size of the ice pad? Do you prefer the smaller ice? Is it the atmosphere? What do you like?
Ben always used to have a saying when he was my coach in Glasgow. Whenever we played in Manchester, he'd come in before the game and he'd say, nobody can hide in this rink. It's a rink that demands that you play a physical, strong, tough game every single game, or you'll get found out. And it's kind of like that extra bit of motivation that some guys need to play a little better. And Finn always used to say, when it was conference and we'd play there 3 times a season, and then every game before the game, this is the rink that you can't hide in. If you don't play well, if you just try and cruise along through the game, then you'll get found out and people will notice. And I've kind of taken that with me, and I try and perform the best I can, obviously, every single game.
And speaking of the coach, got a new one this season. What's it going to be like with Ginner in charge?
Yeah, it's going to be weird not having Pinner as my coach, first of all. I think he's been my coach for 6 or 7 years now, and obviously built that rapport with him over the years. And yeah, I think Ginner is, he showed his ability towards the end of the last season. He took over the power play pretty much wholesale. And our power play was a key part of the end of the season. And he's passionate. I played in front of him for 2 years as well, so I know what he's like as a person. And yeah, I'm really genuinely really excited. It's kind of a new era with Finner stepping back, and obviously he'll still be around the club and stuff like that. But it's Skinner's show now, and yeah, I'm excited for August and to see what he wants us to do as a team.
So you got injured towards the back end of last season that kept you out at the end. So is that all healed up now? You're ready to go?
Yeah, I guess I can say now, but I tore my MCL on my left knee, so wasn't the best time. When you're a professional athlete, all you want to do is be on the ice and play the sport that you love. And yeah, it was tough. It was really tough seeing the guys practicing and watching the games. But yeah, with the help of physio and everyone else at the club, I've managed to get it back to, it's probably stronger than it was before because I've been doing so much rehab on it. But yeah, it's feeling good and hasn't been bothering me for a couple of months now. So yeah.
You just mentioned rehab, but what else have you been up to since the season finished?
I don't want to bore everyone, to be honest. Well, like always, my mum owns a nursery back in Surrey, so I've been back here helping mum out. Nice to kind of, she's been there through my entire life and supported my career from the start. So it's nice to be able to pop back in and help where I can. And I'm sure Ginner will be delighted to hear that I've been going to the gym pretty much every day. But yeah, other than that, there's not really much going on in my life at the moment.
For everybody listening, he did tell me about the gym before we started the interview, so he's telling the truth. He's not just after brownie points here. But going to last season, obviously it was quite a disappointing one for the team. And what do you think that we need to do differently next season to make it better?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our team on paper last year, I don't think you would have expected us to finish 9th. I think that's the big thing. We had a great team. We had great individual players. Adam Brady, Ginner obviously in net, and then Cash when he came in, Downey when he was called upon, and we got some of the best young Brits in the country as well. And for some reason, it just didn't quite click together the way that we hoped. And I think it may be a mentality thing where we were going to places, especially in away games, you know, our away form was, I think, the worst in the league. I just think we showed a little bit too much respect, and I think if we start the season going into every game knowing that we can win the game, and you know, not fear anyone, not show too much respect. Obviously, you have to show respect to the top players, but you know, we need to believe that we can win every single game, because we can. That's how sport works. So yeah, I think kind of a mentality shift, and that comes from the group of guys. You know, it's not necessarily something that the coach can implement. He can do everything he can in his power, but if the group of guys just don't believe they can win games, then you're not going to win games. So, you know, it starts from us. Obviously, with Dallas going to assistant coach, there'll be a new captain, and probably a new captaincy group with the assistants. So yeah, it stems from that group, and then, you know, it filters down all the way to the youngest guy on the team. You know, we have to believe as a group that we're good enough to compete in the league every single day, and you know, it's a long old slog. It's 54 games over the course of the season. One bad result isn't going to impact your season massively, but it's the way that you respond, and I don't think we were good enough at responding to the negatives in our season last year. You know, if we had a bad game, it usually dragged on for another couple of games, and you just can't do that in a 54 game playoff series, which is essentially what the league is.
You spent a lot of time in the commentary box towards the back end of last season when you were injured. Did you enjoy that? And did you learn anything particularly you took away from it?
I did. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. You know, I spoke to Finner and said, you know, I'm going to be so bored. I was going to swear then. I'm going to be so bored watching the game. I hate watching hockey. And I just said, you know, can I jump on the commentary? Because I knew it was something I haven't done before, and I knew a few guys in the other clubs did it when they were injured, and yeah, it was actually really fun. You kind of, with the replays, you kind of had a bird's eye view of what was going on, and it was nice to kind of explain. You know, sometimes as a fan, you see something happen on the ice and you go, well, why did he do that? He's such an idiot. And it was nice to kind of put an explanation behind it and say, well, he was trying this, or that didn't quite work out, but it was the right play, and stuff like that. And I think I had a couple of the digs at the referees about Springs. I think well deserved, in my opinion. But yeah, it was nice to kind of give my point of view and kind of G the boys up as well, because I know everyone kind of watches their shifts after. We get a highlight package of all our shifts after every weekend, and I knew the guys watched them, and it was I kind of felt it was my way to put a little bit of positivity back into the room. You know, if they're watching a clip and they've made a bad pass, and they can hear one of their teammates saying, you know, that was the right play, just wasn't quite the right execution, they won't lose as much confidence if it was someone who wasn't necessarily as involved in the game and didn't quite understand what they were trying to do. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it was a different side to it. Like I kept saying, I would have rather been on the ice, especially those 4 games in a row against Sheffield where I sat and watched and had to bite my tongue quite a few times not to say anything non-PC. But yeah, it was an experience, and it was a fun experience. But obviously, you know, I'm an ice hockey player. I want to play.
Of course. So you mentioned before, Manchester's becoming like second home to you now. Apart from the rink, what is it about the city that you love so much? What parts do you really like?
Probably shouldn't say what came to mind straight away. No, it's a sporting city, isn't it? You know, the lifeblood of Manchester is sport. Whether it's Manchester City, Manchester United, there's a basketball team. I know Sale isn't in rugby, but the Sale rugby team, and it's just a hub of sport, and it's great. You know, you walk around the streets of Manchester, and people remember Manchester playing at the MEN Arena. You know, and it's great to it's just sport through and through. And then, you know, obviously from a personal standpoint, the gay district is pretty lively in Manchester. You know, and there's a great sense of community. I was trying to explain to one of my friends back home, you know, it's a city that just doesn't put up with any kind of discrimination or anything like that. And you know, obviously you've got the gay district with Canal Street at the centre, but you can go out in Northern Quarter and you'll still see the pride flags flying, and it's something that's obviously very close to my heart. I've talked about it quite a lot over the last couple of years, probably a bit too much for some people's liking, but there you go. But yeah, just everything about the city, really. I can't really put my finger on it. It's just the atmosphere, the genuine sense of community throughout the entire city. You know, not just with the ice hockey team, but even when it's Derby Day. You know, when I was up in Glasgow, it was don't go into Glasgow on Derby Day. Whereas Derby Day in Manchester, it's go out, have a good time. You know, if we got the day off and you got the day off tomorrow, go out and watch the game, have a couple of drinks, and it's, you know, you can banter between the two sets of fans. There's no animosity and stuff like that, and it's really refreshing and a really nice atmosphere, really welcoming as well.
And finally, have you got anything to say to the Storm fans?
Well, I think the only thing to say is obviously everyone knows how much of a disappointment it was last year. I know the fans were disappointed we didn't make playoffs, and you know, that was felt throughout the team. And you know, just put faith in Matt Ginn as new coach. He's going to do a great job, and you know, I've been talking to him a little bit. He said he's hard at work going through all the tactics manuals and trying to sign the right players for his vision. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be an exciting year. It always is under a new coach, and you know, the group of guys that are coming back feel like we have a point to prove. We're going to use last season as kind of that fire of motivation. We don't want to miss out on playoffs again. We want to finish as high as possible. And you know, like we always say through the season, it's when that storm shelter is full, it's a completely different animal. You know, teams hate coming to Manchester anyway, and then the noise that the Storm fans make just makes it incredible. And hope to see you all there over the course of the season, hopefully at every home game. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting season, and see you all next season.
Brilliant. Well, Sully, thanks for joining me today. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and look forward to seeing you in August.